Hi, so today I want to talk about meltdowns. For some of you who have watched my previous videos, you'll know that it isn't too long really since I was self-realised as being autistic. Because of that, I was really elated, I was really excited, a lot of things started to make sense for me. I was like, oh, I do this, and I have these little quirks, and I'm autistic. But I've been a little quiet lately because I've also been having to work at a deeper level than that. I'm trying to work on the trauma that comes with masking all of my life. And I am actually working with a neurodivergent therapist, and she has been amazing. And one thing that came up recently was that we discussed meltdowns. Now, even after doing research into being autistic, really owning that, lots of research into myself, I am a therapist, this is what I work with, I'd never actually made the connection that I experienced quite frequent meltdowns. I never saw them as that. That real, I'll own it, ignorance as to what a meltdown for an autistic or neurodivergent person might look like. That stereotypical image of it must be violence, it must be headbanging, and I know it can look like that for some people, but it didn't look like that for me. So I never put it as a meltdown or even a shutdown. It just became something that I think in the end I even stopped trying to work out. I knew it wasn't necessarily a panic attack, I knew it wasn't a depressive episode, it was just something that happened to me. And being able to share with my therapist actually asked me, she said, so what about when you've had therapy previously? Did you discuss these meltdowns? And I was able to be honest and say I never spoke about them because they were covered in shame, but also they were something that was so normal to me that I had kind of learnt to accept and deal with, if you like, and not speak about. And I think about that now and I think, wow, that's a lot, because if I sit and really reflect on those meltdowns, they are horrific. And I've been watching on TikTok, some really brave people sharing videos of themselves actually experiencing a meltdown, and that really hit me to see that, oh wow, I'm not alone. Other people do that, other people have to go through that. But I just thought it was, something that we couldn't get to in terms of mental health. There was something wrong with me, maybe it was childhood trauma, but there was never any set pattern. When I look now, I can link it to overwhelm, but there's not necessarily one specific trigger for me. It can be lots of different environments, lots of different things that have maybe built up throughout the day, sometimes weeks, sometimes months, if I'm lucky. And the way I experience it is absolute emotional pain. I feel that all over my body. I can be overwhelmed, I can have intrusive thoughts. I will believe lots of negative thoughts that when I'm not in meltdown I know aren't true. And typically they are around myself, and I think it's the shame around having the actual meltdown that feeds into that and makes those thoughts worse. I can need to be alone, I can sob. In the past that did come with self-harm. That isn't something that happens for me now. As I say, I've learned to manage meltdowns, but still just put up with them and not really know why they're there. And as a therapist, this is quite big for me to share, because a lot of therapists will say, we don't self-disclose, we don't share about our emotions. But for me, I'm going to, because I know how hearing from other neurodivergent people has been so validating for me and has really helped me on this healing journey, that I don't want to hide that. I want to take away some of that stigma if I can, even if just one person watches this and says, oh yeah, I get what you're saying. I've always experienced meltdowns and I didn't know what they were either. I thought there was something wrong with me, I felt weak, I felt like I couldn't regulate myself. Because sometimes I will literally get up the next day and think, what the heck? Why was I behaving like that? What was I even crying about? And then that would bring more shame, because I couldn't work out why I'd behaved that way. I would, the things that I would be thinking made no sense the next day, and that's because it was actually a meltdown. So I'm on that journey. I'm on that journey to accepting my meltdowns. I think that they will always happen. But if I can try to look after myself, respect my needs as an autistic person, and also respect the meltdown in a sense, you know, not to hide it from my family, not to be ashamed of it, but to say this is something real, this is something I experience, and it's not something I can help. Maybe it's something that I need help with. Don't try to talk to me, don't try to tell me what I need to do, but maybe be there and help me to not judge myself. I think that's a massive part of what I'm learning about meltdowns for myself. To not judge myself, to not be too harsh on myself, because I can't help it. So I hope that's okay that I've shared that with you all today. I hope it's made sense, because sometimes I get to the end of the video and my mind goes, what have I just been talking about for the last 5 minutes?